So a very sweet sister friend of mine from childhood one day said, Amber, you should start doing videos. And while yes, I am an extrovert, recording myself is intimidating. So I'm going to try it and hope for the best. And I'm looking here at my son in the back seat. I have a camera right here in front of me. And he loves to be rubbed on his head. So I'm trying to keep him calm because he's woken up a couple times, and I've attempted this several times, and here we are again. So let's try to see if we can get through it. I was just going to explain a little bit about the decision that we've made with our lifestyle change. I will disclaimer that I'm not looking for approval. I'm just giving a little bit of explanation for a lot of questions that may come our way eventually. Now, don't get me wrong, we've gotten a lot of support. I have some of the most amazing, loving, supportive, God-spurring friends that you could ever imagine. And I'm very encouraged by that. I've actually only had one family member who's not really been on board with our idea for our life. And then that's okay. You know, everybody has their reservations, and a lot of times people go, ooh, that's not for me, so it's not for you either. But that's not how life works. You know, what's good for somebody else may be bad for you. The minimalistic lifestyle is becoming increasingly more popular. Small houses, tiny houses, RV lives, those are all becoming increasingly more popular. And not just because people can't afford things. You know, there's this negative link to, oh, you're poor, so you live in an RV, but that's not how it is at all. I follow so many amazing RV families who have decided to sell beautiful, huge, 3,000 square foot, you know, to probably bigger houses, and sell everything to go live in an RV. And they are thriving and traveling and loving life. And yes, their kids are healthy and safe and homeschooling and doing fantastic. So, you know, if we strip our minds of all of these negative links that society has taught us about these lifestyles and look at the other side, there's so much beauty. And I've wanted to live this lifestyle for a long time. I haven't necessarily thought about living in an RV until recently, but it isn't just living in an RV that we've decided to do because we want to. It's actually much more appropriate for our family and convenient for our family to do. It is the best decision. But I've wanted to live in a tiny house for a long time. I look around my house and I'm boggled down by all of the weight of the things that I own, the things I have to clean 50 times a day. And granted, you have to do that regardless, but it's a lot easier in a smaller place. So essentially, our situation looks like this. When you're on the railroad, when you first get on the railroad, you have a high probability of getting furloughed pretty soon into being hired. And Mike and I have tossed around the idea of moving to Texas for quite some time now, and it wasn't the right time for various reasons. This year, we've both felt like we are ready, and it is appropriate time now for our next chapter. I talked to a friend earlier this year about that, and she felt the same way about her life. So maybe it's just my age. I'm like, getting up there. Let's kind of move on with life. So Mike applied for a different railroad and is going to lose his 5-year seniority at the railroad he's currently at to go start at the beginning. And while a lot of people may say that's crazy just to go move to a different state, it's not. It's our heart's desire, and we're so excited about it. I get anxiety when the summer starts dwindling and we start coming into fall. It's a terrible time for me. It just feels awful for me. I don't do the cold. I don't like the cold. I'm like a bug. I flock to the light. I flock to the sun. It's my happy place. I'm not necessarily a fan of scorching heat, but I will take the scorching heat over, below freezing temperatures any day. So if Mike were to get a job in Texas and get furloughed, he would have to find another place to live or place to work. If we went down there and we started renting somewhere, typically if you rent month to month, it's not going to be the greatest place. I don't necessarily want to rent because rent is so expensive and you have to sign a lease most of the time. We just don't want to do all of that just to turn around and go, oh, well, now we have to move to Nebraska for work, or we have to move to Iowa for work. And it just worked out much better to find a different solution. And an RV was our solution. I started following all these families that full-time RV, and the more I watched them, in spite of the risks, in spite of the negatives, because obviously not every decision is going to have just positives. I love the videos where they actually show reality and the negatives and the struggles, because it prepares me. Not everybody is going to look at that like I do, but I was psyched. I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's jump all in right now, But I wanted to make sure that God gave us the right one. And without telling the backstory about the RV situation, which my close friends know, God provided us the perfect RV for our family. And I can't wait to live in it. I didn't even want to leave it yesterday. I was like, can we just stay here? Just start over. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And while I prefer the color gray and white and creams, light colors, it's very bright. It's very tall, especially in the kitchen, because it does have a bunk room. And if you watched the video, I think a couple videos prior to this one, you'll see a rundown of, a video from YouTube that I just kind of pulled real quick of what it looks like. If you haven't already been sent a video of the one we toured personally. Minimalistic lifestyle is so appealing to me. I'm tired of drowning in laundry. I'm tired, and I know I can live minimalistic, living in our house, but if we're moving to Texas, that's not feasible anyway. So we thought, sorry, I'm distracted by a dog who's either on a table or something. You just see him like over the fence like this, looking over at people and barking. He's cute. Again, the lifestyle is not for everybody, but the people on the the people on these pages that I follow are in love with their lives. Good, bad, struggles, whatever. I've seen very few people go, it just wasn't for us. I followed many pages. I've done tons of research. I have spent hours upon hours preparing myself for this idea. And God dropped it in our laps yesterday. He dropped the job in our laps. It'll be in Lubbock County. We don't know exactly where we'll be, localized, but Texas will be our, I'm new to this, so correct me if I'm wrong, domicile state. So where we live, we will homeschool according to Texas law. We will ultimately always want to be back in Texas. So if we have to temporarily go out of state, if he gets furloughed to get work, then we will plan to be right back there as soon as possible. And Mike is absolutely excited. And it's funny because when we first kind of started out like this, with this idea, it was just like, okay, we'll do the RV lifestyle until we decide it's safe to settle down in a house, and we're not going to risk getting furloughed and losing our home or anything like that. But as I've been talking to people about that and saying, yeah, we probably will settle down later on, he's like, maybe. And I'm like, wow, he's really all for this, like even doing this long term. We love the idea of traveling. It's so appealing to us. I want my children to experience so much more than I ever experienced as a child. My family couldn't. I did a little bit of traveling with my dad, probably a lot more so than my mom, but even then we didn't really go very far or very many places. My mom did the best she could with taking us on trips, but it was never out of state. Well, except for when we lived in Utah for 2 years. So this guy has a shirt on that says the media is the virus. Boy, ain't that the truth. So we just wanted our children, Mike did get to travel, and we just wanted our children to have a greater opportunity to see more of the world. I didn't get to see the ocean until several years ago, and it was only Galveston's ocean, which is definitely not the best ocean. I want my kids to experience more at a younger age. I want them to learn and grow through just being in different states, seeing different lifestyles, different cultures, different worlds that are not Kansas City. And it's exciting to me that we have this opportunity. So obviously getting on the railroad and then going down and buying a house is just not going to work for us. And so we've been going through our house, and we've gotten rid of so many things. Oh my gosh. Like 38 plus bags, trash bags full of stuff, along with boxes and furniture, and we're selling everything. We don't even keep furniture now. We were going to buy a toy hauler. We were going to keep some of our furniture in the toy hauler to make us another kind of living space, but we ended up getting this RV instead, and we're much happier with it. It's got a great living room space. If you haven't seen the video and you're interested, you should check it out. It's pretty cool. It's got its own little front room, 3 love seats, so 6 seats, perfect for our family. It's got a really cool loft that my kids have, and if I were a kid, that would be my happy place, outside of the outdoors. And then our bedroom is good size. It's still got a king bed. The other one didn't, and I was going to be really sad about downsizing because we've grown accustomed to sleeping in our king bed, and I don't really want to change that. And a big kitchen, and a separate kitchen from the living area. The other one wasn't like that. It was like, if you're in the front room, you're in the kitchen. If you're in the kitchen, you're in the front room. I just didn't like that. It felt too cramped for our size of family. Maybe for 2 people, it's fine, but this is the perfect RV for us. We're so happy. I can't wait. And anyway, so right now I'm currently going through selling furniture, all of our items. We're gonna have a garage sale. You might have questions along the way. I think that our long-term plan is to eventually I say long-term. Why did I say that? I got distracted. I'm sorry. There's cars and people and stuff. Anyway, no, my plan, I thought about doing having an Instagram page where I do videos, kind of keeping people updated on our life and taking video memories, not just for sharing, but our own memories, and sharing that with you guys. It also would be hopefully a means to just a little bit of extra money, maybe extra spending money or savings money. But it was just a thought. I'll have to get used to the whole video recording idea because it is still really new to me and it's still a little bit uncomfortable. But if that's what we're supposed to do, then it's a good idea. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I won't be offended or feel judged by you. I mean, there are going to be people with legitimate concerns, and you just have to do the best you can to explain why this is the best solution for your family. I'm not going to lie, my kids aren't thrilled about sharing a room again, but this that's such a small sacrifice compared to the opportunity that's in front of us. They've been pretty okay with getting rid of things. Some things no, but you know, we can't take everything with us. We all have to go through things. I can't even tell you how many tubs, along with an enormous trunk I have full of keepsakes that I have been going through for hours and days, trying to weed through, and how hard it is for me to get rid of any of that stuff because I am a very sentimental person. But it's healthy. It's healthy to downsize. It's healthy to not be boggled down by your stuff. And I think that this is going to be a much freer life for my children, my husband, and myself. And we would love to take you along. I don't know how videogenic, I don't know, photogenic my husband is when it comes to this stuff. But if, you know, he might be in some videos, but because of the nature of his job, he probably won't be in a lot of them. It's going to be a lot of me and the kids. And I'm excited because it'll give me more of an opportunity to spend with my kids, you know. And I kind of had a taste of what it was like short term, very short term, when we would go out to my in-laws, we would use my in-laws' smaller RV and stay out there for a week or two and camp. It was so freeing. It was my happy place. I didn't want to come back home, even though I love my home and I'm a homebody and I love my, you know, the things that we have that we've worked really hard, but like I've worked hard to search for and find for our home, to make it home. It was almost oppressive every time I came back. I realized how much I enjoyed the freedom of having less. And I would clean the kitchen in 15 minutes. I would clean the RV in, you know, less than an hour. And I had all this time that I just like sat there and I almost didn't even know what to do with myself. So this is right up my alley for sure. My kids' rooms have been utter chaos for so long, since I can remember. And it's funny because frequently I have said, Kaya, I need you to go clean your room. And she goes, can I just get rid of everything? And I've always fought that. Like, I've been like, no, I just bought this for Christmas. I bought this. You know, she'd bring things to me and I'm like, no, you can't get rid of all that stuff. And then after we started toying around with the idea of RV lifestyle, I was like, I think she really has a good point. Why be stressed out about the things you have to clean when you can just get rid of them and not worry about it? Granted, you don't want to get rid of everything, and she didn't. She just wanted to get rid of a lot of things because it stressed her out more to think about having to clean her room than it did about getting rid of those items and letting go. And I love that about her. She actually taught me the importance of that. So we're excited. We're super, super excited. So if you have, again, any questions, feel free to ask. And I'm sorry I haven't stared at the camera the whole time. Like I said, this is a little still uncomfortable for me, but I love you all, and baby's getting a little irritated, so I got to tend to him. But thanks for watching this, if you watched the whole thing, or if you even watched 5 minutes. So love you guys.